Hello, hope you're all doing well. It's November 13th. Today I'm once again back with Michael,
Hello, guys.
and we're going to be talking about pretty much once again the weather this week and next week overall. Going to be looking at several different storm systems. One this week that's going to be affecting areas of the south. Then into this weekend, we're going to be having an active weekend in the east. And then next week, we're going to be looking at Thanksgiving week, pretty in depth as well. So I hope y'all are all doing really good, having a good start to the week. Let's go and get started. We're looking at the south right now, pretty much, on the latest HRRR. We can see we have showers and rain, areas of southeastern Texas, southern Louisiana, and over into Florida Panhandle, southern Alabama, and southwest Georgia. This would load. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, throughout tonight. This is tomorrow morning. We can see that rain continues. Doesn't really expand, or we don't really see a ton of heavy rain in any areas. Just a bunch of light rain throughout tonight across areas of southern Louisiana, southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, the Florida Panhandle, southern Georgia. Through the day tomorrow, though, we can see that does shift slowly east, and we start to see more rain into areas of Mississippi and Alabama. We see those showers stretch even Jackson, Mississippi. We see those Montgomery, Alabama by tomorrow afternoon, and we're looking at about 5 p.m. tomorrow. Um, and then we can see it continues Tuesday night. Very slow moving system overall, for sure. We look at the NAM, and we can see same time here we just ended up, but we can see how this plays out Wednesday. We start to see some of those showers across areas of like further north, like the northern Georgia, and we even start to see a little bit more heavy rain impact areas of the like along the immediate Gulf Coast Wednesday night into Thursday. Total rainfall accumulations off the NAM 3 are pretty significant in some places, roughly an inch to 2 inches of rain for a good portion of southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and then southern like southeastern Louisiana too, where we see like exceptional amounts of rain, 3 to 4 inches. So potentially some flooding issues down there, and we also see a little bit of like lighter accumulations over into northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and northern Georgia. No, I guess it's western Georgia overall there, you could say. If a model like the NAM 12 goes out a little bit further, so we can look at that. Yeah, we can see that rain does make it a little further north, but then everything kind of gets interesting as we go towards this weekend, which we'll talk about in a second. It gets a little more interesting once the storm system moves further east into the off the coast. But yeah, good rain event. Definitely some flooding concerns across areas of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Uh, yeah, no
Yeah,
temperature.
I just want to mention quick. Some of these areas down there, just from this event so far, they've seen 1, 2, even 3 inches in some spots, and they could be expecting another and widespread 3 to 6 along the coastline from Louisiana to Florida. So again, very beneficial rain, but there's going to be some flooding concerns with this for sure going
Yeah,
into the next few days.
yeah, exactly. Also one thing that's kind of not beneficial with this is this rain is coming down too quickly. The ground really can't absorb all of this. So I mean, if we were getting this more spread out, it would be a lot more beneficial, but we're not. So we're going to see an improvement in drought conditions, but not as much as what it could be if this wasn't just like an immediate, like if you weren't just getting like 4 inches of rain at one point really over like a day instead of like a week.
Yeah.
That would help. But temperatures with this are going to be a little bit colder. We look at the just looking at the HRRR temperatures tomorrow afternoon. We can see very warm as you go further north, like low 70s areas of like western Mississippi, Tennessee, like Tupelo, Mississippi, Tennessee, northern and central Alabama. Uh, Even Georgia and the Carolinas are pretty warm in the mid to upper 60s in most areas. And then we can see where we have that rain though. Temperatures stuck in the upper 50s along the Gulf Coast to like around 60 in most areas. So a little bit chilly where you have that rain. Wednesday morning we can see it's very cold. Take a little glimpse of the northeast. We can see 20s. Good frost and freeze across areas of Virginia, North Carolina, and that pocket of cold areas all the way down to northeastern Georgia. And then where we have that more humid air and that rain in place, we can see we just have lower 50s. So keeping it warmer during the night, but then in the afternoon it's a little cooler. And looking at temperature anomalies this week, overall this is tomorrow. The northeast, of course, is below average. It kind of just stretches all from like the south up into the northeast. And then the northern plains and the upper Midwest is just burning. Temperatures approaching 25 degrees above average in western Minnesota there tomorrow. So very, very warm. That continues Wednesday and Thursday. The cold air does eventually wane, and that warm air does make it into the east. Uh, but still, the northern plains is consistently burning for the next couple of days. But that'll probably be changing next week, and we're going to talk about that at the end of the video. That's kind of what we're looking at this week. Now, looking towards the storm system this weekend. So Thursday afternoon, we can see our low is still bringing rain to areas of Georgia, Florida, the low country of South Carolina potentially as well. And then it heads down to pretty much, like we see this low quickly strengthen 996 millibars now Friday afternoon. And we're also seeing a cold front come in. We have a low up in Canada. Cold front just stretched down across the Great Lakes and into the Ohio Valley. Not really heavy, anything like heavy, like rain wise with this, just some showers. Uh, and then you see that this like nor'easter type system here, actually, well, not nor'easter type, this nor'easter does, I don't believe it bombs out, but it does get very close. And then we can see we have a lot of rain now for eastern Maine. Yesterday where the GFS had snow for eastern Maine. Today it's going with rain. It's shifted a little further west, but we still see maybe a good couple of inches of snow on the backside in northern New York, in Vermont, and New Hampshire, and maybe far western Maine. Uh, and then we have more cold air on the backside of this compared to yesterday for sure, which we're going to talk about in just a second. The 12Z we can see was even further east, with that snow being in like central Maine, actually picking up definitely a good bit of snow. Same with northern Maine picking up the most. So we'll see if it switches back, but as of right now, eastern Maine is not really the hot spot for this. This area here is probably going to be all rain. If we're to see snow, it'd be in that area right there, or let me redraw that. Like really, this area is kind of the area we're going to want to watch Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, the European, get a little bit of a comparison going here. Let me switch back to the 12Z. See that very similar. That low brings a bunch of snow. Actually, the European is a much better, like almost all snow for the northern tip of Maine. Then by the backside of this Saturday afternoon, we can see we got nice moderate to heavy snow for this portion of Maine right here, stretching down into areas of northern New Hampshire as well. 985 millibar low does clip. It goes through eastern Maine, so of course eastern Maine would just be getting a bunch of heavy rain from this, but decent snow event up there. I'm not even going to look at, actually, no, I'm not going to even look at totals right now. I don't want to look at totals because yesterday we did that and, everything completely changed. So we're not going to look at that. But right now, these are the areas really that we're wanting to watch for some snow Saturday and Sunday with this nor'easter.
Yeah, I think totals are definitely something not to be looking at as of right now, given the fact that there's a very great difference in some spots, getting 0 on one model and 10 on the other. I think this is more of a type of thing to look at when we're within 72 to 84 hours out. So as this gets close, we'll get a better idea of how much could fall for what areas.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said before, we're looking at that colder air uh, compared to how like what models were showing yesterday. We switched to a little bit more cold Saturday and Sunday. So let me see, where are my temperature anomalies here? Let me pull up temperature. Let me switch this over real quick. So yeah, Saturday. GFS ensembles, by the way. So yeah, Saturday afternoon. East of that low, we can see we have warmer than average temperatures, of course, eastern Maine, because considering it's raining. Backside, though, we do actually have some noticeable cold. Down in like all the way down to the Gulf Coast, Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia here, about 10 degrees below average in some places. Actual temperatures Saturday afternoon are very cold for areas of the Great Lakes, 40s, low 40s, down even into the south, pretty cold for this time of year. Or not really cold for this time of year, but a little bit below average, 50s to 60s along the Gulf Coast. And got that lovely Carolina, eastern Georgia warm nose that just appears for some reason. And yeah, and then Saturday night we can see good frost down all the way into like northern Alabama, northern Georgia, widespread freeze for much of the east and the Great Lakes. And then Sunday's another cool day for many areas. So that kind of brings us into next week now. Let's go ahead and start talking about next week. We're looking at pretty much, yeah, that's that nor'easter, and then we have this bad boy, which we've been tracking for a while. So this comes together really Sunday night into Monday. You're looking at Monday afternoon. We have a low coming together right around Wichita Falls, Texas. Already got a little bit of snow on the backside in some of the higher elevations. One thing to note is our cold. We're not going to be having that insane cold that it was looking like we were going to have yesterday across the northern plains and like the high plains. We'll talk about that in just a second. Oh yeah, we also see we might start off with some snow briefly across this area. Or not briefly, my bad. We might actually stay snow for much of this in those areas. We can see, yeah, this kind of combines with a clipper system from the north. We can see that 510 line right here, very cold air still behind that, getting pushed all the way through the east. This system goes straight through the ridge, and we can see we actually end up having a decent little snow event for areas of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana. This is Tuesday. This is Tuesday next week. Okay, keep in mind we're out here. We're out pretty far right now, so some of this is gonna change for sure. I mean, if you watch yesterday's video, you know this is completely different than what we had yesterday. And we have some anti-front snow all the way down to Tennessee, and then we actually see a pretty big winter storm event for areas of the interior northeast on the GFS here. Now the European, let's take a look at the European. So the European is very, actually it does also have that winter storm in the northeast. It's just a little bit more moderated. We don't have as much cold air, it seems. However, we do still see that storm. It's kind of, that clipper is further north though, and it doesn't get access to all that moisture. And this system here, it kind of dominates across the south. Not really any snow across the south with that, just rain and maybe some severe weather, which we're not going to talk about today, but the severe weather threat is there next week, potentially across areas of the deep south and the Gulf Coast. Really, that area right there would be a quick area to highlight for that. And yeah, so we can look at let's see what else I got here. We'll go ahead and take a
I
look
want to
at,
mention.
yeah, go ahead.
So when again we're looking at stuff like this far out, we're looking more for signals, more than like actually what's going to happen. So I'm taking a look here real quick at the European low tracks. So it takes into account all 50 ensembles and where their lows are, and a lot of them have them centered over areas like the northern Ohio Valley and Midwest, and then some of them have them over the Northeast. So it depends where this low is. Areas could get rain, snow. I mean, definitely going to be something to watch. There's a lot of moving parts that have to come together with this storm, and it could be big. We're gonna have to watch it for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, once we get towards like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we'll have a little bit better understanding of what's going to happen. We can start to kind of narrow down like some of the more specifics, especially as we get into this weekend. Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, right now we can just kind of get a little bit of an understanding of what we're going to be looking at. So yeah, right now this is Monday. You can see that cold air left behind in the east. This is the operational GFS model. So this is kind of an idea of what could happen, but we're going to look at the GEFS, which is a more accurate thing, like representation of what we're looking at. But yeah, we can see this is Thursday morning, and the GFS has some insane cold air across the south. Temperatures like 20 degrees below average for a large area, and I mean, 10 to 15 degrees below average from like the central U.S. to the east. We go ahead and switch over to the European real quick. This is the operational European, and it does have that cold air. It's just not as it's not as profound as what the GFS has. However, it's still there for sure. A big switch from yesterday. We could actually be looking at a cold Thanksgiving for the East. I know yesterday I said I was positive we'd see a warm Thanksgiving in the East. However, I don't believe that to be true. I'm not
Moving
gonna.
through quicker.
Yeah, this is the G. This is the GEFS. Now we can see. We really don't even get a warm up in some areas of the East between that cold blast this weekend into early next week, and then the one Thanksgiving Day and midweek, or Wednesday and Thanksgiving Day. But yeah, we can see Thursday afternoon, much of the east and the central U.S. is below average on the GEFS. We go back to the 12Z. Yeah, we can see that was also cold. 060. Everything just kind of shifted quickly. This is what we were looking at yesterday, with that really cold air located up in like the Montana, Wyoming area, but now it's much more spread out into the east. Uh, Not really going to start looking
Yeah.
at what actual temperatures are on Thanksgiving yet, but right now I'd say there's more than a 50% chance that the East could be relatively cold to average to below average And I'd say there's a pretty good bet that the Central U.S. will be below
Yeah, I
average.
think it's definitely changed quite a bit. I mean, on the European ensembles and GFS, it's showing very long-term cold with basically the 19th all the way like to the end of the run. I mean, it's very far out, but big switch in the models. The only warm day we really get is the 21st is slightly moderated with 1 to 5 degree above average temperatures in the southeast and the Midwest. But I mean, this could be here to stay. It's definitely something to watch. Could be pretty significant.
Yeah, as we get towards like the end of the week, we'll see if this holds Wednesday. Uh, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all tonight, or all we got. Uh, I do have work tomorrow, so there will unfortunately not be a video tomorrow, but uh, I believe I'll have time Wednesday and well, yeah, probably Wednesday and Friday this week, maybe even Thursday. I'll have to see, but definitely Wednesday for the next one, so I can keep we can keep y'all updated. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. Hope y'all have a good night, and yeah.